Hello, my dear friends. It's another day of our 40 Days of Lent Reading Challenge. It's day 7 now on March 9th. Today we're reading Matthew 22, verses 1 through 14. Another parable, following right on the one we had yesterday. A different setting, but a very similar sort of message and meaning. The first part of the parable sort of makes sense about this wedding banquet, this wedding feast, especially when you read it in the context of the one we just read yesterday. The invitation goes out, is rejected by the likely people, so in turn, other people are invited to become part of the party. They're given the invitation. The likely ones are rejected, and in their place, anyone is welcome. Just like the vineyard yesterday, one set of tenants is rejected. One set of tenants rejected the owner and his servants, so the owner gave the vineyard to somebody else. Clearly, they're talking about the same thing. The Jewish leaders of the day who were in fact rejecting God's invitation, so that now the invitation is going to go out to anyone and everyone else. All are going to be welcome. But then there's that last little paragraph about not wearing the right clothes. Up until this point, it all kind of sounds the same, but then we have that, and what do we do with it? We sort of get the idea that you dress for the occasion, right? A formal dinner calls for a certain dress code. Likewise, God's kingdom calls for a certain dress code, so to speak. Not clothing, actually. We're not talking about whether or not you wear a suit and tie or a dress to Sunday morning worship. That's not the point. But there's an expectation that our outward appearance will reflect the new inner peace, the new inner state that we have as we become part of God's people. There's an expectation that our lives have changed, that our words, that our actions, that our demeanor would reflect that change now that we have become part of God's people. As God's people, we've been called to a higher, holier standard. We've been called to reflect God's kingdom in this world. It reminds me of every Sunday as Pastor Robinson leads the liturgy, the last thing he says, "Give them heaven, folks." We bring heaven to earth. We act as if we are in heaven now in this broken world. It's not that should act holier than thou and standoffish and stuck up and all that. That's not the point. But we've been transformed from the inside, and our outside should reflect that transformation. We're citizens of heaven. We just live here. So, think about that. How are you dressed today? Maybe Lent is a good time to reflect on how our lifestyle reflects the life that we have been given. Ponder that today as you come back to this lesson, as you think about attending God's wedding banquet. We'll be back tomorrow again. God's peace be with you.